It is signing day, and we are jacked up. Eastern Michigan University signing 18 players today. They're going to help forge the future for EMU athletics.
Exciting opportunity as we welcome you inside our studios here inside the George Gervin Game Above Center. Slightly different scenario than we were last year, Tom. We were at the Mardi Gras Museum in Mobile, Alabama. A little less pageantry here in our studios.
Less pageantry, but no less excitement, as this is a great signing class for Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan. Yeah, last year, down at a bowl game. Little bigger signing class last year,
right,
but this year, much more focused and a very talented group coming into Ypsilanti.
Well, and don't forget, the big difference this year, they moved signing day up a little bit because there were so many problems in bowl week. It was also before the transfer portal opened. So now you get that happening before bowl week and before the portal. Give their guys back their own day.
Really, Christmas has come early. You have guys that are excited to come to Ypsilanti and a coaching staff that is through the roof about the guys they've signed this year.
You talk about the signing class, and we'll break down the complete class. But, Tom, somebody compared it to the Super Bowl. They were kind of like, it's also the parade because you get to celebrate before these guys actually play, too.
There's confetti all over the football office. There's a lot of celebrating going on today, as well there should be. They worked hard during the course of this season recruiting, and they covered all of North America to get the athletes for this signing class.
11 states, 3 countries overall. As you take a look at the breakdown of this class, Tom, what stands out at you the most?
Well, really, they went heavy on the defensive line, and they got a great class of defensive backs in this group. They really wanted to shore things up defensively, and I think they did it. Then they just sprinkled on with it a little bit of specialty players, a tremendous quarterback, couple wideouts, running back, and we'll talk about the linebacker in a little bit in Noah Kanega, who is an outstanding player, but it's a really great class from top to bottom.
It was. You look at it, 16 true freshmen, 14 of those true freshmen earned 3-star rankings. Let's take a look at the names that you're going to become really used to over the next few years here at EMU. We'll start off and we'll break down some highlights of them in just a moment, but you see this group right here that is led off by
Amarion Blue is a running back. He's a tremendous running back out of Dallas, North Carolina. When you talk about the quarterback position and Bryce Button, you know, you graduate Cole Snyder. You got a tremendous quarterback room at Eastern Michigan, but the nice thing is you're continuing to add to that with guys like Bryce Button.
As we take a look at the next page, I mean, some wide receiver roles. Eastern has seen a need at that offensive position, but then also, again, continue to add to the defensive front.
Yeah, and Hector Gonzalez is a guy, you look at Mexico, and you're like, you went and got a defensive lineman out of Mexico. He is out of Mexico, but played some high school ball in Georgia, and he can get after the quarterback.
He can. And then as you look at this final group, Tamarly Smith across the border, they bring an offensive lineman. They also go out west to Erie, Colorado to get Cole Powell in that group, that much needed in that group as well. And
Powell's a guy who did a tremendous job protecting his quarterback. So the quarterback room is going to be thrilled to have this guy on campus.
Anybody that can block is good. I like that in front.
Keep the quarterback upright. That's your job. And open it up for the running backs.
He's Tom Helmer. I'm Greg Steiner. Thanks for tuning in. Chris Creighton will join us momentarily. But you look at this group, Tom, it's something that they feel really good about because they had to scour a lot of the country to find this group.
They scoured all of North America, as we talked about, as they've hit 3 countries, if you include the United States. But they went out there and they addressed needs for this program and went out and got the best of the best and brought them in to Ypsilanti. And I think it's a tremendous class. As you see, they really focused on that defensive line and the defensive backs. Defensive back position, first of all, a lot of banged up guys, so you want to have that depth of defensive back. And Eastern Michigan graduated their entire starting defensive line. So there's a lot of holes to fill up front on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, we've waited long enough. It's time to start seeing some tape on these guys. So you look at Amarion Blue, 6,000 yards in his high school career, top 35 in North Carolina high school history. Tom, this year, 2,000 yards, 33 touchdowns.
He's 5'8", 195 pounds. He can run north and south. Sniffed out the end zone 93 times in his high school career. This guy can scoot. He's going to be a tremendous ball carrier for the green and white. All right, let's talk about Thailand Boykin, defensive back. 6'1", 175. He's out of Akron, Ohio. played defensive back and wide receiver this past season. That's after being the starting quarterback in 2023. He's got tremendous athleticism. He's going to make a huge impact for the Eagles.
Goes by the name Juice as well, and he will certainly continue to try to bring that for EMU. Then they go behind and under center. Bryce Button out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. They go into Kentucky and the Bluegrass and bring out the career record holder in really any category you could think of. Passing attempts, completions, passing yards, touchdowns, everything you can think of. 8,000 career yards passing.
Yeah, just had 95 touchdown passes, 116 total touchdowns. The guy knows how to put points on the board. As you said, he stands 6'3", 208, great quarterback. All right, Quincy Baez, defensive lineman, 6'1", 230 pounds, out of St. Louis, Missouri. Set a school record with 45 sacks. You want a guy up front that can sniff out the quarterback and put him on his back. This is your guy. He's going to be an impact player in Ypsilanti.
If you look at it, top 30 prospect in the state, according to 247 Sports. Then you go south, Hollywood. It's Johnny Carter, top-rated safety in this class, 66th best in the country, Tom. And oh boy, he can pick it.
And he's got some size. He's 6'2", 190. He is the 95th best player as far as the rankings go in the state of Florida. If you know anything about the Speed State, there is just a bevy of tremendous talent down in Florida, and this guy is top 100 on this list, so they're extremely happy to have him.
His dad, 6-time All-American at Florida State in track, that helps too.
As I said, it's the Speed State, and it passes on to the next generation. All right, let's talk about Duke Creighton Jr., defensive lineman, 6'6", 235. He's out of Cleveland, Mississippi. You're going to see a lot of cities too in this class where it'll throw you off a little bit. But Duke Creighton Jr., this guy's a tremendous player. He's a JC transfer out of Hutchinson Community College. 32 tackles, 3.5 tackles for losses in this past season.
And then you go for a freshman from Wichita, Kansas, and that's Mylan Coven, a defensive player of the year in his conference. His first string defense, Tom, they gave up 28 points all year, 47 tackles, 19 TFLs, 6 sacks.
And he's a 2-time state wrestling champ. So his balance, his strength, all that stuff is going to be phenomenal. Xavier Dilworth, 5'11", 175-pound junior college transfer, originally out of Nettleton, Mississippi. This past season, 28 tackles, 2 interceptions, including a 62-yard pick six, and just for a little extra, forced a fumble this season as well. So he's a tremendous player. He's got really good size. One of these guys they expect in to make an impact immediately. When you bring in these JC guys, you go and get them because they can play football and you need help right away.
Dip across the border. He was born in Mexico, but as Tom mentioned, played in Georgia, part of a North Carolina team that won a state championship. That's Hector Gonzalez, 10.5 sacks, 40 QB hurries this year. Really aggressive, as he was part of the 43rd ranked team in high school football for him.
Not only was he a part of it, he was a team captain for that squad. So you know he's a good locker room guy. This is a guy that's going to make a big impact for Eastern Michigan as well. All right, as we move along, Noah Kanega, linebacker, 6'2", 210, out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. This guy will get after you. 318 career tackles and a school record 67 tackles for losses. Also, 4-time all-conference honoree. This guy is a tremendous player. A lot of schools wanted him. Chris Creighton in Eastern Michigan locked him down.
Selected top 25 in the state of Indiana preseason. Nate Lyman out of Kings Mill, Ohio, and really, as a Knight, had 3,009 yards receiving, 20th best in OHSAA history, 33 scores as well through the air, as he was selected first team Division II this year in Ohio.
Don't forget he could sniff out the end zone too. 33 touchdowns for this guy. Another receiver to go along with him, Harold Mack, 6 foot, 170, went to Wayne High School out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. First team all-conference this past season. His junior year, played in 70 games, 25 receptions, 463 yards, and had 5 touchdowns. So a nice add at the wide receiver position.
Saeed Pierre, back out of the great state of Florida, 14 pass breakups, helped lead his team to their first regional final in school history. He'll play in the Dade Browder All-Star game, but another guy in that defensive backfield that can wreak havoc.
All right, let's talk about Cole Powell, offensive lineman. What are they feeding this guy? 6'6", 265, did not allow a sack his senior season. Quarterbacks are going to love this guy. Received an invitation to play in the Blue-Gray Bowl in Dallas, Texas. Love it. And you know, he's only going to put on a little more size when he gets here. You get him tall, you can make him bigger. And this is a guy that's going to do a great job of opening up holes and keeping those quarterbacks upright.
We know we love Southwest Ohio, and dipping back into the Queen City, that's Damiel Rogers out of Winton Woods High School. He was able to finish his senior year with 44 tackles, 8 pass breakups, and 7 TFLs.
Yeah, you know, had a sack, forced a fumble recovery, all that type of stuff. Everything you're looking for in a player, he brings to the table. All right, Antonio Smith, defensive lineman, 6'4", 270, out of Atlanta, Georgia. This is a guy that was first team All-Region 3-5 AA Defensive Lineman of the Year. They don't just hand you that because you're a good guy. They give you that kind of honor because you can do things like this. Move bodies on the offensive line and sniff out the ball carrier, and he does a tremendous job of that.
Next, but we continue back across the border to Marley Smith. We told you, top-rated prospect by a lot of recruiting services in Ontario. He was twice the East Coast Power Prep champions. Also a member of that basketball team as well. So two-way star, helps keep him agile.
Super athletic guy. Will start classes at Eastern Michigan this next month. Listed as the top recruit in Ontario. Happy to have him in Ypsilanti. How about defensive lineman Kevin Wojciechowski, 6'5", 285, out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. 103 career tackles, 17 and a half sacks. And how about knocking the ball loose? 8 forced fumbles in his career. He's a guy that he will wrap you up, he will grab you, and if you're not holding on to that pigskin tightly, you're not going to have it for long.
Well, and Tom, I think it also shows that when places like Wisconsin, Washington, Illinois, Nebraska are coming after you, you're in good company.
You're a decent player, but he landed in Ypsilanti, so Chris Creighton and his staff doing a tremendous job to bring this guy on campus, and I can't wait to watch this guy play.
Should it be exciting? That's the list. You've seen their tape. And next we'll hear from the man that will tell you all about how they came to be part of this signing class. Will be joined by Chris Creighton. As we step aside, we're back in just a moment to talk Signing Day 2025.
All right, welcome back to the 2025 signing show here at Eastern Michigan. I'm Tom Helmer alongside Greg Steiner, and joining us, the head ball coach, Chris Creighton. This is Christmas come early, really, because you put in all this work, all this effort. The Elves were busy in the shop, and then boom, it's signing day.
Yeah, it's a great day. You know what I mean? It really is. It's earlier than it's ever been, which is different, but good in a lot of ways. And, you know, for those guys, I try to remind them, and, you know, the guys that we sign are just kind of wired this way too, but there's hundreds of thousands of kids that dream about signing a full-ride Division I football scholarship. And, you know, that dream doesn't happen for many guys. I was one of them.
I was one of them too.
And so it's awesome. I mean, it is awesome for guys who love football, and it truly is like their passion. This opportunity it's unbelievable. And for those guys to, you know, make it official and for the dream to become a reality, it's a great day.
Listen, it's exciting for these guys. I know a lot of them were signing at high school gyms today. They had their family around them, and now we get a chance to talk about them. You're a former quarterback, so let's start there. You brought one in Bryce Button out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. He's got great size, 6'3", 208. What'd you like about this guy?
Everything. You know,
That certainly helps when you're recruiting.
I mean, it starts it starts with the first two things, and in some ways it's a little bit difficult to differentiate these two things, but looking for a winner and a leader, right? And so sometimes that's difficult to figure out and all of those things, but it's just who the person is, right? Not just what they do on the field. So you got to have those two things, and then we want a guy who's going to be able to make the ball go where he wants it to go.
Well, you throw for over 8,000 yards, the guy can make it go where he wants it to go.
He can do it, and I'll tell you what, like the leader winner. I mean, they had a phenomenal season, and leadership wise, we got a committed, now signed group text. Those guys are on all the time, wishing each other well on Fridays and us on Saturdays and all through the week. And, you can just get a vibe even from that, that Bryce is, he's got it.
Good, wonderful.
I think the other thing that people forget is this is kind of a refined way of recruiting. You bring these guys in, they get to know each other, and again, they become friends off the field. It's just not showing up and just a group of now 18 dudes that haven't been together.
So our main two official visits were in June, before their senior year.
Yep.
So we're kind of at a halfway point where it becomes official, but they've been in communication with each other, that core, all the way since June. And then the vast majority don't get here until next June.
Right.
So it's like literally a year of building a relationship before they actually physically step on campus for good. So,
Coach, you graduated your entire defensive line. They were all seniors. It's one of the positions you really attacked in this recruiting class as you bring in 6 new guys. Talk about some of those guys. And you did it over 2 countries, too. I know one played a little high school ball in Georgia, but you've got the United States, you got Mexico, 6 fresh bodies up front.
yeah, no, we do. And that's including, a junior college transfer, from Hutchinson Junior College, one of the premier junior college programs in the United States of America. In Duke Creighton, and he'll be playing a defensive end for us, and he'll be here in January. And you mentioned, international. So Hector Gonzalez, Raven Gap down in Georgia, is another defensive end, and he is actually going to be here in January as well, which obviously football-wise gives those guys a 6-month head start, before the season.
And was a team captain on one of the better teams in the state.
Yeah, well, he's getting a ring. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they've ordered rings. I mean, he had a great year. Awesome young man and family, and appreciate a lot of things about him. And he got hit up by a lot of big schools late, and this is where he wanted to be. And there's so much power in that, when we find a group of guys, and we are a group of guys that want to be here, and you can do some amazing things.
Tamarly Smith, as you dip across into Canada again, City So, Jez John VA, we've had that path of Canadian prospects coming across. What impressed you the most out of Tamarly?
Well, and Everett Small.
That's right.
Everett,
Their
got
high school
here a year ago, and he is, going to be. He's got a chance to be a great player, and he's a perfect fit for our program. And so it does help, for Tamarly to be like watching City So. Starting as a rookie for the New England Patriots and being drafted, and then having the familiarity with Jez, who's on the team still, playing on the offensive line, and Everett. We've had, when I first got here, Cam Allison, was Canadian on the offensive line. I mean, we just have a really, really, really good history, with Canadians. And he's going to be
Jake Julian, too. We
alive.
can't forget about
him.
him.
I was just talking about O-line.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about
talking O-line.
You want to go the full scale of Canadians?
I mean,
could have helped out.
Jake Julian's going to be the best punter in the National Football League.
Yeah.
You wait.
That's right.
100%.
North American record.
You never have too many linebackers. Noah Kanega is a guy you get out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. 318 career tackles. 67 of those were tackles for losses. I know a lot of schools wanted this guy. You guys had a great relationship and were able to sign him.
He's son of a coach, head coach, there at his high school. His mom's a head volleyball coach. We love everything about him.
Right.
When we start talking about that group text, he's already glue, with the class. And he's a really good player. I mean, Coach Needham, our linebackers coach and defensive coordinator, we've been working together, not all the way through, but since 2007 7 years here at Eastern Michigan. We know each other well. He is this program, and he was like, that's the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we ended up, getting him very, very thankfully. And, I think that you're going to be hearing his name called on Saturday afternoons for a long time here at Eastern Michigan.
We think back to when you first were hired here. Todd Frakes was your recruiting coordinator. Coach Collette really took over after that. Southwest Ohio, Northern Kentucky have been hotbeds, as well as Indiana. What is it about this group? Again, you really tapped into that region.
Well, we like to go to places, and we'll go anywhere, right? But you got great people, great programs, and great players. And we don't want to compromise on any of that. And the Cincinnati, Dayton area, I mean, the football's awesome. The coaches are awesome. They're great programs. And, it's Midwestern people that fit us, and that goes for Indiana as well. And I spent a lot of years in Indiana. And so, I'm now tied. Indiana and Michigan are the states that I've lived in the longest, right? So,
right.
Up until this year,
Right.
I would claim every Indiana guy. I was like, "Come on, man, you got to come." So, but yeah, it's a great group.
Here's the thing, the recruiting never stops. Really, you can't build a great house without a great foundation. I know the transfer portal will open up coming up. This is a great foundation. You feel real good about this class, don't you?
Real good, real good. And to be honest with you too, it's just there's been even in the group of 5, right? There's just a lot of change right now, and I think talking to the guys and whatnot, there's something to be said, that we're here and we've been here, and you start talking about 17-year-olds trying to find the place where they want to go and come in as freshmen and have awesome careers and great experiences and get their degree and take this program to where it hasn't been in a long, long, long time. I think that there's, there's some peace I think that they have.
I mean, the signing's done, so you don't have to sell the school to this class, but you talk about family atmosphere. Taylor Powell's parents, he played at a couple schools. He said everybody sold the family atmosphere. This is the only place it ever held true was Eastern Michigan. And Powell loved playing at this school, and his family loved the fact that when you preached family, it was actually what you said it was going to be.
And it doesn't mean it's perfect, right?
No,
I mean,
no family is. You should
Yeah.
have seen mine at Thanksgiving.
Right. You know what I mean? So, it is like, for, that last game at Western Michigan, the guys who, the non-travelers, were still here on Thanksgiving to serve the team, to give a look. And then, after the practice, they could go home. We had a bunch of guys who drove to Kalamazoo to be there, on Saturday, and it's just time after time after time after time. I mean, Jeff Collett, we had community service yesterday, and he had 44 guys show up to do the shop with a cop or whatever. And I mean, he immediately texted me and is just like, so these guys were amazing today, so it's just, I don't know, man. Signing days happen. I get all that, but I'm proud of our
family,
guys.
you got it. You want to play in the NFL, you got it. We got the name of the fields after a guy that's still playing in the NFL. You want great facilities. Eastern Michigan, there's a lot to be excited about at Eastern Michigan University, and this class is a huge part of that.
I can't wait for him to get here.
I'm jacked up now. I'm ready for the season to start again.
We can't let him get out of here, though, without one special surprise, though.
Okay.
We know he loves confetti. Can you show us how it's done?
Yeah, show us it.
I mean, I was in the war room today. Tom wasn't. Let's do a little celebration.
I think, is this one for a MAC championship? Do we need to hold on for yet another year? Or is this for signing day?
Listen, if that's going to get us to Detroit, put that in the office and blow it off for next year.
We can find some French fries if you prefer, like that photo right there.
All right.
We can hold on to this one.
Let's blow it off at Ford Field.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll be about
We'll sign that.
1,000 of these.
That I dig. That gets me fired up.
So,
yes.
Yeah. No, we can write that down on that.
Okay.
Because those guys who are coming are going to be part of the group that helps us achieve what we have not yet achieved. And there's a fire burning, for us to get there and to get that done.
Absolutely.
Let's go in the case then, and we'll.
All right.
Let's go. We'll sign it.
Sign it up, put it in the case. We're blowing that thing off at Ford Field when this class is part of the group that takes them for a MAC championship. Coach, glad to have you with us. Great job on this. Great job with your staff as well. We look forward to 2025.
Appreciate you.
Well, that was quite the effort from Chris Creighton and company to get this class pieced together, Tom. 18 guys strong. Now it's see and wait in a lot of different ways because you know there are going to be new pieces to this roster. It's just who, where they're coming from. Because, of course, as we heard, the transfer portal will be open soon enough. Yeah,
it's coming, so it's both a nightmare and a gift for coaches as the transfer portal will open. But as I said to Chris Creighton, you can't build a house without a strong foundation. Yep. They took care of the foundation part with the signing class. There's a ton of work to go yet, especially through the month of December with the transfer portal open into the spring. A lot will be figured out about this team, but I like the start.
Eagles will take on a non-conference schedule that sees them open next year in San Marcos, Texas. Then they are back home for the Sharks
of Long Island.
And the former head coach, Ron Cooper, was, of course, the head coach here.
So there's that tie.
Then
you got to go to Kentucky. Then you come home to play Louisiana. Then it's right back into the back.
And then it's MAC play before we know it. And then we'll have this framed, as we heard from Coach. It'll be ready for Ford Field next year.
Going to hold them to it. Hopefully we're shooting this thing off. I can't wait to pollute Ford Field with this confetti.
Go
Eagles!
We'll see a team do it this weekend, but the Eagles will try to get there next year. Tom, appreciate you coming into today and making this a part of your now December schedule.
This has become the normal thing. Next year, let's do it at a bowl game.
Yeah, let's do it somewhere a little warmer than Ipsy this morning. They could also get rid of the 7 a.m. rule. Like, we could sign at 10 a.m. or
yeah, you don't got to get out of the bed early.
At least there's no fax machines anymore.
Exactly. Technology is finally caught up.
All right. So for Anthony DiCarlo, Tom Helmer, Greg Steiner, and our entire football crew, we appreciate you tuning in. More info on emueagles.com about signing day. We'll also have ways to buy season tickets around the corner as well. Thanks for watching, everybody.